If you've been watching my Demi tutorials for some time now, this is for you. If you've worn Demi a few times, this is for you. If you have no idea what Demi color is, I encourage you to stick around and watch. I just set my phone up, record my morning routine of getting ready. And typical me, I'm always running behind. Have a short amount of time to get ready. This whole process took me 11 minutes and 17 seconds. I'm not going to talk through the entire video. I just want you to kind of watch the process with a few hints and tips along the way. First step is toning. I toned with Orange 5 to the sides of my face, and I still have some bruising, so I used VR3 to the jowl part where I have a bruise. And now I sculpt using NO-1, and on my forehead I add a little NR. I'm using the shape brush, I'm using the small end, and notice how I'm just using my finger to give me a little bit of smaller so I get use out of this same brush and don't have to switch too many brushes. And I always wipe off my brush when changing colors. That is key. In order to keep this video under 10 minutes for uploading on certain platforms, I have just cut out places where I've switched brushes. So I don't want you to think this has been edited, but this only took me 11 minutes and 17 seconds. Now I'm using a little bit of NY right there where I have a little bit of redness on my cheek. This is a sculpt and it gives me a little more definition, and NO-1 for my jaw area. You hear Gypsy running around. Now I'm going to switch to sculpting my nose. I did switch brushes to the blur brush, using the same colors, NO for where it's more colorful on my nose, and focusing on the top portion. And then I'm going to use a little NR down to the sides a little bit where it's a little murky green. And I had to cut it because my eyelash came off and had to put it back. I switched brushes to the bright brush, and now I'm going to focus on lips. I feel like lip color is very important with the overall look, especially with working with Demi, because it kind of gives balance to the other colors on the face. I also think balancing the color for the overall appearance when applying your makeup, especially with the Demi method, really helps you focus on the big picture instead of little small distractions. Now I switch brushes to something like the wash brush, and I'm going to add a little bit of warmth to my cheeks using R5. If you're fortunate enough to have naturally flushed cheeks, use it to your advantage. I am adding some color to help me have a little bit of life, and on the top part of my cheek, it's a little murky green, so I used VR3 there. And here I'm dusting on red 5 that I use in my cheeks and dusting it on top of my lips as well. Now I went back to the spot brush, and I'm going to add a little depth to my eyelids there using some NR on the base of my lid. And then I'm going to switch to the NV+1 to add a little depth to the top portion of my eyelid to give some structure. These are the sculpts with Demi. And adding a little bit of structure to the bottom portion of my eye with NR. And my blasted eyelash won't stay on. Now I'm going to do my brows. Today I'm using Indigo Contour and the line brush. Indigo Contours with the 3D line from St. Beauty. And I'm just going to fill them in really quickly. I love using this line brush. I either use the Indigo Contour or I use a Philly eyeshadow. And now I'm going to filter. I switch brushes. This is a little artist brush that I got from Amazon. I got a whole collection of them. I can share the link with you. It was like $7 for the entire packet. I'm using Y01 to focus on those broken capillaries, a little bit of purple that's in the inner corner of my eye. So anything that looks like a raspberry, blueberry, as you have heard me say before, if you have watched my Demi tutorials, anything that kind of you would say is red on you, most likely is purple. That's what I'm using Y01 on. And they're not very saturated in color, so Y01 works well. I did learn the more saturated it is in that color, I need to shift to the Y1. And I'm just focusing on those dark points. And I just kind of touch and squiggle over it using very little product. And always wiping off my brush between colors. Okay, I've wiped off my brush and I've switched colors to Red Orange 3. I use this one for all of that muddy pigment throughout. Now on me, the pigment like age spots and melasma is definitely a green blue. So the Red Orange 3 works really well with that. Now, pay attention that I am using the Red Orange 3 for darker ones and for all of those to the sides of my face that I want to keep the color saturation the same. I don't want to use something that's super low saturation to the sides of my face. But I do use the Red Orange 3 underneath my eye, the very darkest point. Now I'm using Red 1 for all of those very light melasma areas, just kind of a little bit of muddy looking. And there is right in the middle of it some darker points there, so Red 1 works well. And I love using Red 1 right there at the socket of my eye where you have had sun damage over time. I know I have. And look how it just compared the two eyes, how it just pops out that cheek and brightens up the eye. Taking out the darker ones in my cheek using Red Orange 3. And Red Orange 3 for the darker melasma on the top part of my lip. And these are the 4 colors I use for filtering: Y01, Red Orange 3, Red 1, and O3. And every lady that I've color matched, everyone that wears Demi, they typically have 2 to 3 to 4 filter colors for the entire face, and that's all they need. Here I'm using O3 for large pores, scars, and anything shadowy. And I basically do the same process for the other eye. They're not exactly the same, but I'm definitely using the exact same colors, which is great with Demi because you will have common distraction colors throughout your face. So you're not going to have a plethora of colors to thinking you have to have a color for every color on your face. And it's not so. It's not that complex. It is actually pretty simple. And just like you would have a tone for the overall of your skin, same thing for filtering. You're going to have the same kind of color distractions throughout the face. And you're going to see me tap it off a little bit with my finger because I got in a little bit of a hurry and went outside the perimeter of the dark point, and it makes this halo. So I just kind of dab it off with my finger a little bit. Also helps to turn your head side to side to see how the light changes on it. Went back to Red 1 to take out some little light dullness, murkiness on top of the lip. Add a little bit more to my cheeks. red 5, and I just kind of put some on my forehead too. And I'm done. No setting, no powder, completely finished. Are you ready for Demi?